In February 1959, the northern Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union offered one of the most hostile environments on Earth. Temperatures regularly dropped to -30 degrees, scoured by blinding, high-speed winds. When search parties finally reached an isolated slope known to locals as Holatsiak, they found a camp completely buried in the snow. The tent had not collapsed under the wind, it had been violently cut open from the inside. Leading away from the ruined shelter were 9 sets of footprints. Some belonged to hikers running in only their socks. Others were entirely barefoot, fleeing directly into the freezing darkness. Despite their years of survival training, the 9 hikers abandoned their only shelter to sprint into the sub-zero night. A month earlier, a group of engineering students and alumni from the Ural Polytechnic Institute had organized a grueling ski expedition. The team was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov. He was a veteran mountaineer with a reputation for calm decision-making and a highly methodical approach to wilderness navigation. The 8 men and 2 women who set out with him, though one would turn back early due to illness, carried a collective resume of severe weather climbing. They knew exactly how to handle the Urals. Recovered film rolls show the team in high spirits during the first leg of their kayak. They traversed dense, snowy forests, taking photographs and documenting a seemingly flawless journey. By the final days of January, they reached the exposed slopes of Holatsiak. In the indigenous Mansi language, the name translates to Dead Mountain. Here, the weather rapidly deteriorated. On the evening of February 1st, they set up camp on the mountain's shoulder and wrote their final diary entries. After that night, all communication ceased. The sudden, absolute disappearance of such an experienced team stood in direct opposition to their extensive cold weather training. Weeks passed without a telegram. Families pressured the government, resulting in a massive deployment of military helicopters, ground troops, and volunteer students across the frozen plains. Once the searchers located the slashed tent, they tracked the barefoot impressions nearly a mile down the slope to the edge of a dense forest. Beneath a large cedar tree, they found 2 men frozen solid. Their hands were severely burned, surrounded by the remnants of a tiny, desperate fire. Moving back toward the tent, they discovered Igor Dyatlov. His body was positioned facing up the slope, frozen mid-crawl in a futile attempt to reach the camp. 2 more members of the team were found nearby. All of them lacked the heavy coats and insulated boots required for the elements. The physical state of the bodies contradicted basic survival instincts. Stripping away heavy gear and fleeing a secure shelter in sub-zero winds defied rational explanation. It took 2 months for the snow to melt enough for searchers to find the remaining 4 hikers, buried deep inside a rocky ravine. Examination of these bodies revealed severe internal trauma, specifically citing crushed chests and a fractured skull. One victim was missing her tongue. Even stranger, investigators detected abnormal levels of radioactive contamination on several pieces of the hikers' clothing. The inability of 1950s forensic science to explain these anomalies allowed theories of Yetis and extraterrestrial involvement to dominate the narrative. A more enduring suspicion settled on the Soviet government. Many believed the hikers had accidentally witnessed a classified weapons test and were subsequently eliminated. The lack of a clear, fact-based timeline enabled these supernatural and conspiratorial myths to persist for over 60 years. The narrative finally shifted in 2020, when modern computational models provided a grounded, mechanical explanation for the nightmare. Researchers concluded the trigger was a highly localized phenomenon known as a slab avalanche. Under immense pressure, a solid block of hard-packed snow detached from the slope, slamming into the tent in total darkness, threatening to crush the sleeping team. Trapped under the heavy snow, they had seconds to react. They slashed the canvas and crawled out into a blinding blizzard without their gear. Disoriented and exposed, hypothermia began shutting down their bodies almost immediately. The crushing weight of the snow slab accounted for the fractured bones. The missing tissue was a result of wildlife scavenging after the bodies rested in an exposed ravine for weeks. There were no monsters or secret agents on Holatsiak. The evidence aligned strictly with extreme environmental physics and the brutal efficiency of nature. Today, Holatsiak remains exactly as it was, a remote, silent expanse of rock and ice. The meticulous preparation of 9 seasoned experts offered no protection against a sudden, overwhelming geological shift. Science has mapped the physics of the disaster, but the sheer terror of their final hours is something only the mountain witnessed. The Dyatlov Pass Incident endures in the public imagination. It serves as a stark reminder of how quickly the natural world can erase human life, leaving behind only frozen silence.